Get ahead from those who don't. It's not what you think.
It's not about money or just dumb luck. Turns out it all comes down to just one thing.
Yep, your mindset. It's the invisible engine that really determines your entire direction in life. This way of thinking is like a trap, and it holds a lot of people back without them realizing.
It's all about just today, no planning. It's that feeling of, I already know it all. And where does that lead? Well, this way of thinking doesn't just slow you down, it gets you stuck.
Okay, so let's flip that around. The opposite approach is all about active growth in creation.
It's an active process. You start by learning, then you practice, and then you create results.
And here's the key. You stop being a spectator in your own life and become the creator.
So what does this actually look like in practice? Let's put these two mindsets head to head.
The difference is pretty stark, right? One is closed and reactive, the other is open and proactive.
These aren't just little habits. They are literally the blueprints for two completely different lives.
The poor mindset, it builds what's called a swamp of poverty, keeping you trapped right where you are. But that rich mindset builds an empire of success, a future where you just keep on climbing. So you have to ask yourself, which one of these mindsets is building your future right now?
Differences between people who achieve these incredible things and, well, everyone else who seems kind of stuck? Welcome to this explainer, where we're going to dig into one powerful idea from our source material that just might be the answer you're looking for.
All right, let's get right into it. Why do some people just seem to soar while others can't get off the ground? It's a question we've all probably asked ourselves at some point. And you know, the answer our source material gives us? It's actually simpler, but way deeper than you might think. It's not about luck. It's not about where you come from. No, it all boils down to one thing: mindset.
So yeah, it's all about mindset. According to our source material, the biggest thing, the number one factor separating people is just how they think. The best way to picture it, it's like the operating system for your brain, you know? It's that program running in the background, shaping every single decision you make, every action you take.
And this quote really hits it home. A person's mindset is what sets them apart from others. This is the core idea. It explains why one person is climbing that peak of progress, always hitting new goals, while another person is just stuck in what the source calls a swamp of poverty, totally unable to move. I mean, that's a really powerful way to put it, right? So, okay, what does this actually look like in the real world? Let's break down the two ways of thinking. We're going to look at the huge differences between what our source material calls a rich mindset, think abundance, think growth, and a poor mindset, which is all about scarcity and feeling limited.
And wow, just look at this comparison. It's night and day, isn't it? The poor mindset, it's all about just surviving today. It's reactive, there's no real plan. But the rich mindset, totally different. It's proactive. It's always about building for the future, exploring what's possible, and really truly building what the source calls an empire of success.
But what's behind that difference in planning? What's the fuel? Well, it goes even deeper. It comes down to how each mindset sees knowledge itself, their whole relationship with learning.
And here we have it, the poor mindset's belief, I already know everything. This right here is the biggest roadblock you can put in your own way. The second you think you know it all, bam, you've just slammed the door on your own potential. It's a wall you build yourself that keeps you from ever seeing what you're really capable of.
Now, on the flip side, you've got the rich mindset. It's a totally different story. It's like a machine that never stops learning. It's not just about, passively reading a book. It's about actively hunting for new info, being excited about change, and then, and this is key, using that knowledge to create brand new ideas and possibilities that literally were not there before.
So, this hunger for knowledge, it's not just some hobby. It's not about being a trivia champ. No, it leads directly to action. It's all about building for tomorrow, and it's a very deliberate process of actually doing something with what you learn. And our source material lays out this really clear two-part process for achievement. First, you have the foundation phase. This is where you learn, you explore, you do the research. And this is so important, you can't just stop there. Then comes the action phase. This is where you strive, you practice, you relentlessly apply everything you've learned.
And this is where it all leads. This is the ultimate payoff for having that growth-oriented mindset. You literally stop being a passenger in your own life, and you get in the driver's seat. You start taking control.
This is the final level, if you will. You become what the source calls the creator. Think about that. You're not just reacting to stuff that happens to you anymore. You are the one designing the results. You become the architect of your own life.
Okay, so how do you actually become this creator? Well, here's the toolkit. And notice how it all fits together like a puzzle. That continuous learning and embracing change, that's the foundation we just talked about. Then you combine that with relentless practice and striving. That's the action part. And that is what lets you forge totally new ideas. It all works together to give you the power.
All right, so we've gone through all of this. What's the one thing you should walk away with? What's the very first step on this whole journey?
And here it is. This is the absolute key. Your greatest asset. It isn't what's in your bank account. It's what's in your head. It's your mindset. The journey to build a totally different future for yourself, it doesn't start with cash or knowing the right people. It starts with a simple choice, a conscious decision to think in a new way. So the real question isn't about what's holding you back. The real question is, what mindset are you going to choose to build your future with?